Good morning, sunshine.
Welcome to the real world. Whoa! Mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. Breathe air. There's no second best, okay?
Breathe air. GM. It's Tuesday, 10th of September. Trade of the day. So, Bitcoin ETF flows flip positive for the first time in 2 weeks. Apparently this is newsworthy. What does that say? Are we really at the point where ETF flows, putting in 28 million, 28 million of inflows, is fucking worthy of being a news article? I mean, what are we doing here? So, I don't know. Is that like excessive hopium where people are just so desperate that they're actually claiming that as news? I don't know. We'll see. So, how are we looking here? We moved up yesterday. We took out the highs of, I think it was what, Friday? Or not Friday's high, but was it Friday's high? It was Friday's high. Friday's high just before the dump. Pretty simple though. Like above that level is fine. Below that level is not great. And if Bitcoin is going to fully retrace this move, you're going to see that level break. So I'm mostly watching for this level breaking. If it does, I think that we just head all the way back down and probably lower. Right. So if that level breaks, we probably see price make its way back down towards this support level. If it holds there, holds anywhere in here, and we can build through this level, I think that's when we can go higher. So the two paths here are pretty clear. In terms of today, I think today has a potential for a full retrace. Right? What happens when you have these sudden moves that catch everybody off guard, or most people off guard, is if the FOMO takes over and people smash back into alts too quickly and into Bitcoin too quickly, you can just see it fail entirely pretty fast. If not, I don't think we go break out today or do anything to the upside today. I think the best case scenario, if you're a bull, is just that we stay around this area and we chop and we hold up here, and then we break out later on. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, whatever. I think those are the two main options I'm looking at here. Does open interest tell us much? Not a whole lot. Big build-up of open interest through this first push here, and then it was immediately wiped off on the second part. So open interest has still built, since this move up into the lows, and then it squeezed down a bit. We've had an open interest build up all the way. Is really the simplest way of saying it. We've had OI building up as prices declined. OI is getting higher and higher and higher as we fell. It was increasing and chopping in sideways, but it wasn't decreasing. And now as we're rising back up, it has been rising along with it. So there's still plenty of open interest to be wiped on whichever move we get next. Again, open interest doesn't tell you whether we're bullish or bearish. Open interest is merely that we have positions building. And so usually you want to follow the trend direction, right? So if OI is up, but price is up, that's fine. As long as the price continues, that's all good. The build up, let's say from these, where will we take it from over here? From that last flush, price is up 2.7%. Open interest from the lows of that, when positions started to build again, is up 9%. So significantly more open interest than price. Obviously, in the meantime, we went lower, and there was not a decrease of open interest, actually an increase. So that means longs, on balance, did not close out. In fact, the net opened. So some people obviously got stopped out, some people got liquidated, but others have replaced it, and also shorts built up too. So who's right? Well, nobody knows. But you do have a very easy way of saying, and it's at this point it's really easy. We definitely have a big open interest build-up. That's why I think that the move below 56.3 will probably unwind really fast. Because that's the first point at which you can say, oops, these longs are wrong. If not, if we continue to go higher, then you're going to see probably a massive short squeeze. So we're at this inflection point where whichever way this chop, whichever way this consolidation breaks, is probably going to have a decent move. And I think that's I would say that over the next few days, the next move you probably want to follow you probably want to follow the trend direction if you get a valid breakout. Like, so you get a BOS here or you get a proper BOS here. I think the trend direction will be clear because there's so much build-up. And the market has been very emotional. The market's been betting hard. You can see this. Open interest rising. So there's people betting long, betting short. One side's going to be wrong. And whichever side's wrong is probably going to be wrong quite big. And so for longs, you know, plenty of room to go higher. We can squeeze beyond these bands. We can squeeze up. There's stops. There's highs. There's gaps. There's everything. All the way up as far as 60, possibly 62. And of course, the downside, don't need to tell you, you know, we'll make new lows. Because off the lows here, again, anyone betting on the long side, if they're wrong, we probably go to at least a new low before some kind of a bounce. What else? Yeah, overall, I don't think there's going to be like a huge amount of note today. Obviously, we're rising, so there is a chance that upside momentum takes over and we do break higher. You know, momentum is up. If shorts are scrambling to close, we could see a stronger move. I just suspect that we don't go up today significantly. I think today we chop, and if we go anywhere, it could be down. But again, only if this level breaks. Now, the debate between Trump and Harris is at like 1 a.m. ETC. So that's the Trump-Harris debate. At that point, like ignore these paths. They're not meant to be drawn to time. The way I think it moves is it doesn't move much going into it. You have a spike either side around the debate, and then it just continues where it's going. I don't think it's going to be anything more than just sweep some stops, and then continue on. That's my best guess for what's going to happen with the debate itself. And go back over here finally, and we'll look at this. So the 5 minute, we came back. I mentioned this yesterday in trading analysis before I logged off. Saying here on the way down, so that it was doing that slow bleed, potential for a full retrace, and it did continue lower and lower and lower, but it held where I mentioned watch out for the 100 EMA and the 200 EMA. Came to the 200, held that, broke back above, broken structure on the lower time frames. Is holding up pretty well at this level, so you couldn't ask for much more, right? It avoided the full retrace, it came back into this previous support, it left the gap behind, so that's all good. Definitely nothing major to worry about in that sense. We did also have a 4 hour, the 4 hour bands are also green, and we had an impulsive candle. Here, we had a 4 hour impulse. Now, the 4 hour impulse candle started to fill. And again, this is another reason why I am not rolling out the red carpet for fucking 100k Bitcoin just yet. I need a fresh chart. The least fresh chart ever. So typically, I've talked about this before, when you have an impulse candle, I did this on Weekend Workshop a couple of weeks ago, impulse candle, the next one sets the consolidation, you then start to fill. So this is the impulse, this is the gap. There's a gap on the impulse from here to here initially, right? So when this candle closed, you had a gap there. It started to fill, and it's pushed out of it, but as soon as it goes back into that original gap, that, to me, would signify that the whole candle is going to fill. So that then gives you another level to mark on your cards and watch for, which is like an earlier. So obviously the break below there is a confirmation. An earlier one is if it starts to fall back inside 56.8 and trade there, that's when the impulse is filling. And I actually expect at that point, it's pretty likely, let's say we start to see some 1 hour closes or a 4 hour close inside that. It's back into filling the impulse gap. Watch for weakness, because typically those impulses, if they're going to hold, should continue. So it tried to go back outside it. You don't want to see it revisit. So basically what it's tried to do is it's tried to go back down, and it failed, which is good for bulls. If it goes back in again, that's a sign of weakness. So that's what I'm looking out for. And that's it. GM.